Our lesson this morning is from Genesis, chapter 9, verses 8 through 15. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants. After you and every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all those that came out of the ark with you, every living creature on earth, I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth, and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. And from Psalms, chapter 19, verses 1 through 4. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day, they pour forth speech. Night after night, they reveal knowledge. They have no speech, they use no words, no sound is heard from them. Yet their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. May God bless the reading of this holy word.
Thanks be to God. We are in the midst of this season of creation, and today, recognizing the sky and all its beauty, it speaks to us without words. It has no speech, and there is no question that we are connected to the sky. I'm not sure if you realize that the word in the scripture, from the Hebrew and from the Greek, is a word of wind and breath and spirit. So the spirit, the she that comes sailing in the wind, is within us and in our midst, and reveals to us signs of God's glory, signs of God's promise. We are a part of all that God is trying to do. And there's no question that we've got a fascination with the sky, right? Some of us want to jump from planes on our bucket list. Some of us, I saw a nudge. Some of us go on vacation and parasail and glide across the sky attached to a boat. I have the privilege of flying in a hot air balloon. Anybody else do good? A lot of you. And one of the most powerful things about that, about being up in the sky, is the silence. In between the moments of the fire that heats the balloon and makes it rise, it is so quiet up there that there's no wonder, that we believe that that's where God lives. It's so quiet up there, it feels like it has to be where God lives. Now, some of us dream of flying. Anyone? Flying dreams? Come on now. Yeah, me too. I jump really high, and then I can stay up. That's a recurring dream for me, that I can float. Everybody's jealous. But we are taken by the sky, by the quiet, by the peace, by all that happens there. And because we can't fly, we kind of like the people who can, right? Now, I want to tell you that there are a number of people who celebrate the hummingbird. How many have a hummingbird feeder at their house? their kitchen and watch the hummingbirds come and go. Or you can go to Joanne Stafford's and Linda Brower's and sit on their deck with an extraordinary view and watch all kinds of birds come and go. There's something beautiful about the sky and about watching those creatures who fly. You can also sit in adult Sunday school and watch the biggest, giant, scariest birds fly from the dumpsters at the Mohawk House. So when you're really, in the weeds with the content, there's always a moment where you believe in dinosaurs in adult Sunday school. Because those birds are some scary, scary birds. But we have a fascination with the sky and the ability to fly. We climb mountains to get close to God. They built pyramids, right? To get people closer to God. Because the quiet and nature, when it's not so quiet, give us a sense of God's presence. It feels a little bit like that's where God lives. Certainly, images of heaven for centuries have depicted something like this, that Jesus would appear, or the bearded guy in the sky would reach out a hand, right? Because the sky has always been a place where God lives. This happens in the sky, so that when we go to bed or when we're up in the middle of the night, we're filled with worry and anxiety and fear, or just upset because we can't go to sleep. We are grateful because we know and trust that the dawn will break through. It's a reminder of God's presence and the new mercy we receive morning by morning as we entertain the music of the spheres. Right? This is my Father's world. While nature sings and roundly rings the music of the spheres. We can count on the dawn in the midst of our struggle, and every once in a while, someone will email me a photograph that they took when passing by in Bryant States. Said this and said, I thought you might want to know what it looks like when the sun rises over the beauty of the church. We've seen rainbows across our properties that remind us of God's covenant with the people. And God shows up in the sky, in the scriptures. There are so many moments in the text where we get a sense that the people were so attentive to what was happening. The stars stopped when? When did the stars stop over the place where Jesus lived? Right. God's voice is heard coming down out of the sky at Jesus' baptism and on the mountain of transfiguration. This is my son. Listen to Jesus. God said, the veil is torn between heaven and earth at the time of crucifixion. Darkness covers the land. Bodies meet in the sky, Paul says in the letter to the church at Thessaloniki. That's the modern day city. And I think we think sometimes that God's not speaking quite as clearly today from the sky. And I don't know if you realize that it was the Jewish New Year these last few weeks. Our brothers and sisters who are Jewish celebrated their New Year. They also then will celebrate their Day of Atonement, where they make things new and right for the new year. And I don't know about you, but just because we're not still writing the stories doesn't mean that the stories are not still happening. Pat, will you click for us? Very simple, very short.
Ring clapped. An anomalous celestial event took place in the sky over Jerusalem on October the 1st, 2016. Witnesses heard strange sounds of trumpets and saw a massive, perfect ring of clouds appear. It emerged right before an important religious holiday. The thing is that on October the 2nd, the Jewish New Year begins with the sunset, and it lasts for 2 days. This day, the day of sacred assembly, and customarily at this time, if you're Jewish, you cannot work, and you should blow trumpets instead. This is the time of God's judgment on humans. This day it is decided in heaven who will have a wealthy life, who will live in hardship, and who is destined to die. We don't know much about Jewish traditions, and maybe for some reason Hebrews decided to blow the shofars one day earlier, but it's still impossible to explain the perfect ring cloud appearing in the sky, accompanied by these sounds.
Just because we're not writing down the stories doesn't mean that people are not still having experiences. Moments when they hear things, moments when they see things, moments when we realize how close God is. And you know, I wondered what it was like, I always say, before Doppler radar and weather channels, when we could predict what was coming and have some sense, right? When this was the news, you get a sense of why we might have felt that God lived in the sky with that kind of power and that kind of impact. And we might remember this from Superstorm Sandy. You know, when we were planning this sermon series, I had no idea, as we talked about the sky and storms, that we would be in a time when people were bracing for storms. But sometimes that is how the Spirit moves through what we're doing, when the messages become just a little bit more real, closer to our hearts, our minds, our spirits. When we realize the power of the nature, the power that comes from the sky, the power that comes from that place where God lives. Back one more time.
We didn't evacuate at first because we didn't think it was going to be as bad as it actually was. So we were here for the first time in the morning, and there was a foot of water in the house. So we decided at that point we needed to get out because the tide wasn't going out and the water wasn't receding. So we knew when the storm came at night, it was going to be even worse. Getting out of here was very scary. I mean, there was probably 2 foot of water in the street, so we had to drive across the neighbors' lawns to try and get down the block to get out. It was like houses burning down in the neighborhood. It was crazy. We did get out though. We got out.
We had said, you know, we really don't want to host teams over Christmas. It's a crazy time at a church. It's really busy. But then the first year, we got the call from Lisa. You know, do you guys think you would mind hosting a mission team over Christmas? No, send them. Just send them. And I guess the philosophy behind that was, if these people, these strangers, are willing to give up their holiday to come across the country and work outside in the cold with no bathrooms and no electricity, I think we can be here to open our doors and serve them a couple meals.
Just so happened somebody told me about a future group, and I contacted them, and they helped me get back into the house.
You see a lot of recovery because of the tourist areas, the shore areas, the boardwalks, and they have to get put back together. But people are not realizing the impact on the people that have those jobs and the workers that live in those areas. those are the houses that are still affected, and those are the people that are still not in their primary homes. And hopefully the word can get out that the need is still genuine for those truly need, the ones that the Methodist Church is always targeting.
Sandy is definitely not over. I mean, you could just take a walk around this neighborhood, and there's still construction going on. There's still people fighting to get back in their homes.
Our caseworker was still getting calls saying, we had no idea that there was help out there. Can you help us? There's still people that need help, and we still need people to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
So there is no doubt that we can see how and why we believe that God lives in the sky. But there is no question that every once in a while we can see that God lives right here. So that when United Methodists are ready to mobilize and go, when the flood buckets have already been produced and delivered, we are already at work, already preparing to go to North Carolina and South Carolina, and I'm sure that annual conference will be mobilizing just like New Jersey did with Sandy, because when people are in trouble, United Methodists are pretty darn good at getting there, being there, and helping people to feel the love of God on earth as it is in heaven. You've made prayer flags, and I hope that you will wave your flag for peace, for hope, or care for all. And I hope that you know that, yes, God's power and glory can be seen in the sky without words or speech, but that usually God's presence is found and known through us as we do the work, as we carry the message forth into the world.